Hello everyone, good morning. Sunday meal prep live for me. I'm actually just finishing off the last little bit. I'm just doing some stewed apples. I'm having some stewed apples after my soup at lunch. So I'm just prepping them. So yes, I'll go through my meal plan this week for you. It's getting a little, dinner's a little bit different this time. Everything's fairly repetitive. So I go to Perth in a few weeks, going to go see my beautiful sister, which is fantastic. See my mum and dad, but we're also coming to explore Perth too. I mean, I was born and raised in Perth. Dean was there many moons ago in the Navy. We're going over there to check it out and see, is that where we want to live? We're also going to check out the Gold Coast, and we're still considering overseas. So yeah, lots of things that we've got going on at the moment. So in about 3 or 4 weeks, I think it is, heading to Perth. So keeping everything, and I've got, you know, lots of things going on in the background with the business at the moment, which has been huge. So the best thing I can do is remove decision fatigue, remove any excess prep or anything like that. I've kept everything super simple because I really need time off on the weekend at the moment so I can get back into it during the week. And I'm sitting a lot all day every day, so then I'm trying to get my steps in as well, which makes it a little more difficult. So weekdays are feeling quite rushed at the moment, shorter time. So I'm just making sure that I get some really good downtime on the weekend, and I've done that by some little time saver things that I do for prep. So the other thing I'll go through in a minute is where I'm up to on my deficit. So I've just completed week 3 of a mini cut. So I'll go through that in a minute. I'll explain the difference between a longer term deficit and a mini cut and when you would or wouldn't use it, and what my results are so far. Hey Katie, welcome this morning. By the way, anyone, if you've got any questions, you can always pop them in the chat and I'll answer them for you. So meals this week, we have breakfast, which is yogurt and berries. I just use frozen berries. Thaw them out in the microwave in the morning, squash them down, put my Greek yogurt in and mix it through. That helps keep the Greek yogurt sweetened rather than a really tarty flavour. If you like, you can add a little bit of monk fruit sweetener to it. When I'm not in a deficit, I use honey or maple syrup or something like that to sweeten it up. But that's just a place that I can pull some calories out from. Because I eat so many calories at maintenance, I'm like 2,400. You know, volume of food isn't an issue, so I use a lot of honey and things like that. So I pull all of that out for a deficit, so I'm still essentially eating similar things, just made some adjustments through low volume, high caloric foods. And the other thing I'm having with breakfast is my potato waffles. If you have seen them, basically I just get a potato around 100 grams because that's what my macros say. So a potato around 100 grams. I've already got them set aside. They're in the cupboard now. I've picked through all my potatoes, found 7 that are around the right size, give or take a little bit each day. So at the end of the week, it washes out anyway. In the morning, while I'm eating my yogurt, I put that in the microwave for 3 minutes, poke holes in it, 3 minutes. Then I put a bit of shaved Parmesan down on the waffle maker, put my potato in, squish it, bring it up, cover it in salt and a bit more Parmesan. I'm using like 10 grams of Parmesan. You don't, for a 100 gram potato, you don't need much at all. And then I squash it down again and just let it cook off until it starts to go golden and crispy. And then when you take it out, it all firms up and it holds the potato together. It's so good. So that's breakfast. I always have my skinny flat white at morning tea with my carrot salad. So that's morning tea. Then I go into lunch and still doing pumpkin soup. Now, the pumpkin soup I make is much nicer. I'll get a packet out, hang on. Pumpkin soup I make is much nicer, but like I said, I want to remove a lot of things at the moment for time saving, decision fatigue, all that sort of stuff, because being in a deficit, you will have lower energy, you have less desire to do things. It's just the way it happens. Because you're low in energy, you've got low food input. So to help with those things, I really shorten up my prep on Sunday, so I make sure I get lots of rest on a Sunday. So I've been using this packet, which is pretty much similar calories per serve to what my pumpkin soup is. And it's really, really clean. Vegetables, pumpkin, potato, onion, water, salt. That is it. So it's an excellent choice that if you want to meal prep, but you don't want to spend too much time, look for options like this. Do yourself a favor and spend some time wandering through the supermarket or get onto their online app and start looking at different things. If you go, okay, well, I like a lot of pasta sauces, but making it from scratch to keep all the shit out of it is a pain in the ass. There's so many brands out there that are really clean, in glass bottles, amazing. So go find your brands and your ones and trial them out. Do I like this one? Do I like this one? And you find you'll get a lot of things that you don't have to make from scratch. There is plenty out there and available that are clean, free of preservatives and additives, and still taste amazing, that can make your meal prep super efficient. So rather than frying off all the onions, peeling all the fucking pumpkin, which is a pain in the ass, chopping it up and then cooking it off and then having to blend it and find a big container, I don't have to do any of that. Got that. Dean and I share a packet each day. We have half a packet each for lunch. So there's that. And we have that with turkey mince at the moment. Look, you could put any bloody mince in there that you like, or any type of chopped up meat. We've just chosen turkey mince at the moment. I try and get the breast when I can. Sometimes I can't, and I just go to the plain turkey mince, which has got the dark meat as well. But while we're in a deficit, I do prefer the breast. And I put my fats towards things that I enjoy when I'm in a deficit, because accumulating fat just through eating the proteins and that, I'm a sweet tooth, so I would prefer to have my fats in, say, some chocolate in the evening or lemon curd, things like that. So I go really lean proteins and keep my fat lower and save my fats for things I enjoy. So I still have something to look forward to in my deficit. Now I'm on 1,650 calories at the moment, so I'm in a 30% deficit. And it's low, especially compared to 2,400, and I am still eating things I enjoy. Do you know how many people I have had come back to me that go, oh my God, I'm doing the rice cakes, lemon curd or marmalade with cottage cheese, and it's so good. Katie's on here now, she's one of them. Another client of mine, Julie, she's been doing it. Her training performance has improved, by the way. So I've been having conversations with Julie around improving her performance in the gym and looking for things that help, and eating a more substantial meal before she goes into the gym. So she was like, righto, so she tried the cottage cheese, marmalade, lemon curd and rice crackers, and she was like, I felt so much better in the gym. She's also in a deficit at the moment as well. So she was like, I feel so much better in the gym. That great combination of a starchy carb, which is the rice, which takes a little bit longer to digest, with the instant access from like the lemon curd or the marmalade, and then you've got an amount of protein, really nice clean protein from the cottage cheese. So it's really, really boosted her performance. So please do not underestimate. If you're in the gym and you're eating healthy and you think you're doing all the right things and you're not getting results, maybe one of the things you could be looking at is, am I eating appropriately before I go into the gym? So that's one of the questions that you could look at and cover. So yeah, that's my gym snack. And when I'm not going to the gym, I swap it out for yogurt, sweetened condensed milk, and lemon curd. I live for non-gym days at the moment because I love that so much. Now, same macros, same calories, because I build it just so it's exactly the same, but it doesn't support me in training. I need that starchy carb in there as well. So when I eat it, I've got this energy coming through a little bit slower, as well as the instant access. So I really need that. And when you start training hard, you'll probably find that that's a better way to go. It helps restore your muscle glycogen and liver glycogen when you've got the two of them, because one will do muscle glycogen, one will do liver glycogen, which are super important. Both are super important for energy and recovery. So it's really good to have that balance there, particularly when you learn how to train hard and with intensity. Julie is one that's like, she's at 105 kilo deadlift, and she's only 160 centimeters tall, so she's not a tall lady either. So she's strong. She's really strong. We're just addressing body fat at the moment for her. She's got muscle, she's got strength. We just need to bring her body fat down for her. So that's one of the things that we're doing, and she's finding that setup a lot better in performance. So that's really good. That's what I'm doing. Non-gym days is the yoga. It just doesn't support me in gym. Even though I love it, I still have to go, okay, well, what is going to support my training the most, particularly in a deficit, to keep me going? So I just swap it on a non-training day for something that's super, super yummy, and I live for that. So good. And dinner this week. I don't know if you saw on my stories earlier on, must have been last weekend. I actually did it. So I had the waffle potatoes that I've just spoken about, and I did a burger. So a burger patty. It was literally just some mince with dry ground garlic, onion, and salt. Rolled it up, pressed it into a patty, popped it in the air fryer. Boom, done. Added some onion, tomato, lettuce, tomato sauce, a little bit of mayo. I use the Good Fat mayo that's made from olive oil. It's really, really nice. A little bit of that, and it's like burger and chips all in one, but it's lower in carbs because you don't have the bread around the burger and then the chips on the side. You're combining it all together. So it's been a really good one for in a deficit. And I said to Dean last week, I said, do you want to actually do that for dinners? So I've got fuck all prep for that. The payoff is there's going to be a little more to do in the evening. So last week we had Mexican mince and rice. I literally would have our portions served before I even left for a gym, sitting on the bench, covered, ready to go. We'd walk in the door, have a shower, throw it in the microwave, and we're done. This is going to take a little bit more. So each day I'll take a patty out of the freezer. So they're in the freezer now. One will come out of the freezer at the beginning of each day. So they're ready for the evening. I've got the potatoes. So when I went shopping, when we went and picked up the online shopping, I went in for the potatoes, and I literally picked out my 16 potatoes. Yep, 16 potatoes that were all around 125 grams each, because that's what we're going to be having, 2 of those. So 250 grams of potatoes is what we're going for. Dean's factoring in for, he's actually in a little bit of a deficit at the moment as well, trying to tidy up. So we're both doing 250 grams of potatoes. So before we go to the gym, while I'm getting back and forth getting ready for the gym, I can have our 4 potatoes cooking off in the microwave. It'll take about 10 minutes for the 4 potatoes, and the patty's ready to go. So when we come back in, I'll just slice a couple of slices of tomato, pull off a lettuce leaf, slice some onion rings. That'll be done while the potatoes are now in the waffle and the meat patty is in the air fryer. So it's super, super quick. It'll take about 10 minutes prep in comparison to none at all. But what it's allowed me is I've been in the kitchen about 45 minutes this morning and I'm done. I'm just putting some stewed apples on. Oh, that's the other thing. Sorry, that is the other thing I do have with my soup, pumpkin soup and ground turkey, is I just need a few more carbs in it. So I have a bowl of stewed apples, about 100 grams of stewed apples afterwards as well. But any piece of fruit would do. I just particularly love stewed apples, haven't had them for a while, so that's what I'm having. I literally could have gone, can't be bothered doing stewed apples this week, I'll have a mandarin afterwards. So I could have saved myself even more prep by keeping it super simple like that. I just really love the apples and they don't take long to do. And I knew I had to talk to you guys, didn't have to, but I do these lives every Sunday, and I know a lot of you come in specifically looking for this live, which is amazing, and thank you very much for that support. So I was getting on to do that, so I thought, oh, well, I'll just chop the apples up and put them on the stove while I'm talking to you guys. So I'm peeled, ready to go. I'll chop them down, throw them in a pot, literally throw them in a pot with vanilla extract. I buy shares in vanilla extract, by the way. I fucking love vanilla. And where it says, 1 teaspoon, I'm like 1 tablespoon because I love it. So I'll literally put the apples in with some cinnamon dusted over the top. I go pretty heavy on the cinnamon and a splash of vanilla in the bottom. Put the lid on, and once they all start to break down and release their juices, and you can see all the juices bubbling on the top, I take the lid off and I just let it simmer down. You're always stirring, coming backwards and forwards and stirring. And I just let that do that until all the juice is gone, and by that stage they're soft enough. So that's how I do that. I don't add any sugar or anything like that. I don't use green apples. I like Gala apples or Fuji apples are really good, so red ones. You just got to find the right variety that hold nicely. I like mine to hold their texture a little bit, like their shape and stuff a little bit more. That's why I like these, but I prefer them to be sweeter than what Granny Smith apples or green apples normally are. So that's why I do the red. One moment while I just get a knife. And then after dinner, I have a glass of milk, and depending on what my meal plan says, sorry, getting hot as well. Depending on how many calories and what my meal plan is saying, I will either have because it's quite cool here at the moment, I'm having warm milk of a night time, so 200 grams of warm milk, and I will put a dash of monk fruit powder in it, vanilla, lots of vanilla, and a really heavy pinch of salt. So it's a salty vanilla milk, and it's got the sweetness from the monk fruit, and I just heat that up, and then I sit down after dinner and have that, which is yummy. And that's what my meal plan is. That's 1,650 calories. I am not missing out on anything here. So if you are healthy eating and you feel like that you're not allowed to have sugar, lemon curd has got sugar in it, but there's so much nutrients in the lemon juice, the lemon zest, the eggs that go into it, that a little bit of sugar is not going to hurt you. Sugar is not the problem, it's lack of nutrients. But I've got so much nutrients going in through other sources that it really doesn't matter. You know, and it's yummy. I love it so much. I don't feel like I'm deprived. The only thing I will say is I'm a big chocolate fan, and it's just hard to fit chocolate in on a deficit, and sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. So I do miss that a little bit, but I'll live. It's only 6 weeks. So that is my meal plan for the week. Really, really simple. It's 10 o'clock. You know, I was pretty much finished half an hour ago other than this, but now it's 10 o'clock. At least I've got, you know, the rest of the morning and the afternoon for myself to now wind down and do whatever I want to do. And that is how easy your meal prep can be. I am sorted for a week now, just through doing that. Fried off my turkey, yeah, made some balls, chopped some apples, so simple. Now, my deficit, where am I? It's been an interesting week, and I think this is one that you'll really appreciate hearing. You know, so many of you are, when you do try and deficit, it's the emotional ups and downs that undo you. It's I hate using the word self-sabotage because it almost shifts responsibility from yourself. But I know that that's not what the problem is with you guys. I know that you are committed and dedicated, smart, intelligent woman, but you stand on those scales every day and you go, what the fuck? But if you have more metrics, more data than just the scale, it will help you understand what your body is actually doing. So when I went to do my check-in this morning, I took my weekly average. I was expecting this because I've been watching the scale this week and it's gone nowhere. At one point it went up from last week and I'm like, rightio, even me as a coach, even I go, oh my God. So then I remind myself, it's okay. You need to take the weekly average and see what your measurements are doing. And at the beginning of the week, I was really lagging in energy. Like I said, I've been super busy with work, a lot going on there. I was really lagging in energy. And then all of a sudden, I had Wednesday, Thursday off of training because they're my normal days that I have off. Went to training on Friday and my body just went bang. I was like, oh my God, look at my arms coming. Generally on women, you'll find that arms and back are the first thing to come in on a deficit, first thing to show. My lower half, not really seeing much there yet. That's always the last part to come in. So I was like, wow, look at this. So regardless of what the scale was saying, I already knew on Friday by the look of my body and the way my clothes were fitting that I was still on the right pathway, because my body, so if you're doing photos are another piece of data that you can be looking at for logical decisions on, is this working? So I did my check-in. I took my weekly average. We do not work off of the daily. The daily has lots of fluctuations, as I've just spoken about. And we're not reactive on a day-to-day basis. So I took my weekly average, and sure as shit, exactly the same as last week. And I was like, okay, I was expecting that. But in my head, I'm also going, but I can see that my body has changed. So why would I let that number determine whether it was working or not? If I can literally see in myself and feel in my clothes that my body has changed in the manner I'm wanting it to for this deficit, why would I go, oh, but I didn't lose any weight, this isn't working? Nobody walks around with a big number on their head of this is my scale weight. As much as you're going, I need to lose weight, it's not a number on the scale. No one's fucking looking at that. It's what you see in the mirror. It's how you put your clothes on and feel in them. That's what counts. And when I looked in the mirror, I can see my shoulders coming out. I can see my triceps coming out. I can see my rear delts coming out. That's all super important. They weren't showing before because of the level of body fat on top. The muscle's there because my strength hasn't gone anywhere. I'm still pulling the same numbers in the gym. It's certainly harder to get them, but I'm still pulling the same numbers in the gym. But my arms are showing a lot more shape and definition than they were before. So why would I let that number determine how I feel and any actions I would take by going, oh, I need to drop my calories lower because it didn't move this week? So then I put the tape measure on, and sure as shit, measurements are down. That's all that matters, isn't it? You're actually looking for the shape and the definition. So my measurements went in the right direction. My photos look better, even though I didn't literally take photos, I could visually see it. So why would I be worried about, is this working? Of course it's working. We can see it's working. Now, along with that, my basal body temperature is holding. So your basal body temperature is a reflection of your metabolic health. And there's certain numbers that you want your basal body temperature to be, and you want it to rise through the day. So every few days, I'm doing my temperatures to make sure that my body isn't under any excessive stress. I did Monday, Tuesday was really hard and I was very lethargic, but I think that's where I was having one of those whoosh moments where everything was dropping out of me. And this is why at the end of the week, all of a sudden everything went pop. So I was feeling really lethargic. So I took my temperatures because that's biofeedback. I was really, really tired. So is this becoming too much for me? Took my temperatures, metabolic health, still holding, just made sure I got earlier nights. So I was in bed about half an hour earlier than normal just to get a bit of extra sleep. Body went pop. I'm fine again. So my metabolic health, I know, is holding up. That is something that you need to be tracking as well. There is no point getting lean if you are not healthy down there. And if you don't slow down a little bit and focus more on the health of your body whilst being lean, then you'll never be able to maintain that lean. You might be able to force your body down to there, but it'll either rebound or you won't be able to maintain it, or you're just not going to feel good. And part of feeling hot and sculpted is, hot and sculpted isn't the same definition for everyone. Some people want that really, really lean, six pack, everything popping gym look. I'm telling you now, that's about 12% body fat to be down there. And not many people can hold that lean. So if you're going to attempt to go there, you have a responsibility to diet in a way that protects your body. So it doesn't mean crash dieting, and it doesn't mean dieting like a bodybuilder. Yes, I live predominantly like a bodybuilder. I weigh my food, I'm very specific, I look at the data. I just don't do things in as an aggressive manner, because it's not, every bodybuilder will tell you their body suffers. And when they get that lean, they reverse out because they can't stay there. There is a reason for that. So let's slow things down a bit. And I can guarantee you now, the body you want does not come in one deficit, does not come in 1 3-month I built muscle and then I spent 6 months in a deficit. Doesn't happen like that. The reality is you're going to need several phases. If you're in the gym now and you're not seeing results, the reality is you likely need several phases of pushing strength, dieting, pushing strength, dieting to get to where you want to be. Now, that doesn't mean you're not getting results in between. You will feel yourself, when you're doing it in the right manner, feel yourself be metabolically strong, feel yourself sleep better, feel yourself with more energy. You're going to the toilet every day, but all these things that just make you feel and perform better in life. One of the big things I hear from my clients is how this flows over into life. When you sort this shit out, it allows you to be mentally strong on other things. If you're always fatigued, or you're always run down, or you're running in nutrient deficiencies, then how can you expect your mind to perform at the level you want to be as a professional, as the level you want to be within your family, because you're always short-tempered and cranky because you feel like shit? Nobody is worth that. So you have a responsibility to diet in a manner that protects your body, but also protects the strength and muscle that you have built. So remember I said to you, even though I've been doing this, none of my strength markers at the gym have gone down. I am still pulling the same numbers. All right, it's hard, it's fucking hard, and I don't particularly like the gym at the moment. I hate it when it feels hard like that, hate it, but I'm still doing it. Means to an ends, right? So I know my strength is holding. You need to train in a manner in a deficit that also holds your muscle but allows your body to lose the body fat. And if you're not looking at fuel timing, like it becomes so important in a deficit. If you're not looking at volume of training and the way you're doing it and you can't recover, if you can't recover, how do you go into the next sessions ready to push just as hard? You don't. You're going to go backwards. So there's lots of different things that you need to be looking at, and there'll be elements that you're missing, and this is why it isn't working for you. And I'm not going to stand here and go, this is the reason why, because there are so many different reasons why, and quite frankly, everyone is in a different place. Someone might be really metabolically strong and they can start from there and go into a recomp. Some might be metabolically strong and just have really high body fat. They might actually have muscle under there and it's just a body fat issue for them. Well, great, we can just work on body fat. There are people that come to me, they're that metabolically fucked up. Yes, we need to do labs. Yes, we need to run protocols and give them extra supports, and sometimes it can take up to a year. I've had clients take up to a year, but I mean, I'm talking, endometriosis, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, reversing all those sorts of things, and it can be done. But you can't expect to build muscle. You have to be healthy to build muscle, and be able to lose body fat and maintain that level if you aren't metabolically healthy and you've got all these things going on with you. So sometimes the reality is for ladies, it's like, well, actually, you're just not ready to do any dieting. We're just going to work on your form and your intensity at the gym and keep pushing that while we fix your metabolic health. Then we can think about body fat. Body fat should never be the first thing that you're looking at. All the underpinning things need to be there first. Strength, metabolic health, sleep markers, energy, all of those things. And then when they're there, you then attack the body fat. It's actually the last piece of the process where everyone's trying to make it the first piece of the process. And if you're not metabolically sound, that's actually going to make you worse. So it depends on where you are now, what sort of a body you want. It's filling that gap in an appropriate manner. And the choices are recomp, builds, deficits, reverse diets. None of these things that anyone is saying out on Instagram are, oh, if you're not getting results, this is why. Well, no, it's not why, but they're not wrong at the same time. It could be for one individual, but that doesn't mean it's for everyone. And I'm really going to start pushing hard on this, because I want you to understand that everybody is different and nothing anyone out there is within reason. Nothing anyone out there is saying is actually wrong. Let's take, for example, I've seen a lot where people are trying to, they're targeting people who want to build muscle, and they'll go, you need to front load your calories. Okay, so front loading your calories, what does that mean? Front loading your calories means that you put more calories into the morning or the first half of the day in comparison to the second half of the day. Now that's not wrong, and a lot of people do need to do that. I had a client, Katie, come to me. She was eating 1900 calories for maintenance, and she was like, and I know that that's my maintenance because when I stick to it, I maintain. The problem being is I'm like a raccoon on crack in the fucking pantry of the evening because I'm so damn hungry. So if it's my maintenance, why do I constantly feel hungry in the evening and have these cravings? And then it was becoming her undoing because she was giving in to the cravings, therefore not eating 1900 calories. And when I looked at it, she is a morning trainer. She goes to a workplace. She's quite active throughout the day, roaming around the premises and everything. So she has a lot of energy expenditure in the morning. And yet when I looked at her, she was heavy in the evenings. And when we spoke about it, she's like, yeah, I keep trying to put more in the evenings to stop me from binging, but it's not working. In fact, I feel worse. Yes, that's right, because you're not supporting yourself during the day when your energy expenditure is at its highest. So we front loaded her day, and guess what? Cravings went away. So it's not wrong. But I'm going to tell you something now about me. I do not front load my day. Why? Now I have a good breakfast because I'm coming out of fasting, so I'm making sure I'm getting my 30 grams of protein and enough carbs to kick myself off for the day. But when I get up in the morning, at the moment it's still dark, but the house is quiet. It's a slow start to my morning. I'm not like, go for a shower, go for a walk. I'm not doing all of that. I'm up, I'm getting a bit of work done. Yes, I work straight away because I'm actually most creative and most mentally locked in first thing in the morning, but I'm up and it's a slow physical morning. I'm not expending a lot of energy. And then I have my breakfast, and then I potter around, have a shower, and then I walk 10 paces up my hallway, park my ass down in front of the computer, and I'm there until 3 o'clock. So why would I, and then I go and train, and then I make sure I'm getting some steps in, and then we're coming home and tidying up and doing this and playing with the cats. And so why would I front load my day when all of my energy expenditure is actually in the evening? Now, I'm not saying I, don't have a good breakfast. I have a substantial breakfast to get me started, but I don't have a massive lunch. I'm not having a big morning tea, anything like that. So less calories are in the first half of my day in comparison to the second. But I also train in the afternoon, and I train fucking hard. So I need the fuel going in and I need the recovery coming out. So to turn around and go, everybody needs to front load their calories is really a load of crap. It's not right. It's not wrong. The question should be asked is, what supports my body? What supports my activity? All right, when I lock in, when I go in the morning after breakfast and I sit down in front of that computer, I literally lock in and I barely move. Like I don't even fidget in my chair. I'm really in the zone. Okay, so there's fuck all even neat movement from me. Why would I load my calories just to sit in my body and then go and train the way I do and expect to recover well and have good energy on lower calories? It just doesn't make sense. Now, in saying that, I've also, like I was talking about, I test my metabolic health as well. So my temperatures tell me they're the right temperature in the morning. They rise after breakfast. They rise after lunch. There is nothing wrong with what I'm doing. It supports me metabolically. So I know what I'm doing. And then I also train, perform, and recover really well. So front loading my calories doesn't work for me. So there's just so many generic responses out there of do this, but no one's asking you, where are you at currently? What sort of a lifestyle do you lead? How are you feeling? What's your metabolic health like? When are you training? How long before you train do you eat? How long after you train can you eat? These are all the types of questions that should actually be asked before this generic information is applied. And if you are not getting results and you're running around saving posts, using ChatGPT, taking all the standard nutritional guidance advice, standard training advice, and applying it to you and going, but that's what everyone's saying and that's the standard advice, well, that's standard generic advice. You haven't learned to read your own body and adapt to you. And that in itself is a skill. And that is the difference between what I do and what other people do. In my I don't run a group course. This is a mentorship. This is an education. Hello, darling. How are you? This is an education for you, and it's not a textbook education. And this is an education to guide you through to listen to your body. And when you learn to do this, that's where you can get to the other side. And unless I'm in a diet or something or in a specific build, I don't track my food. I put a loose plan together at the beginning of the week and I go, right, I know what I'm eating. I can also eat out without thinking about it because I understand how my body feels and what I need to do to rectify it if it doesn't feel great, or what I have not done to support it and what I need to do to support it. So I have educated myself around my own body. There's something else I actually tested out on my body this week, which next week I'm going to jump on stories and tell you about it. So keep an eye out on my stories, and it's going to be around training timing. And I've dieted in the past. I've got all the data from in the past, and I have a little bit of an issue that I was trying to get over, which I'll explain more next week. I tried one which kind of helped a little bit, but there was still a bit that just wasn't quite right. So I've done a different thing and I've gone, boom, right. That's what it is. So when I'm dieting, I need to do this. And I'll tell you all about it next week on stories. So keep an eye out for that. But what I really want you to take away from this is while you're out there saving all the posts, collecting all the information, buying all the fucking supplements, you've got no idea where your body currently is. If you can't tell me what your lean mass is, your body fat is, whether your temperatures are showing a healthy metabolic rate, if you have shit sleep, if you have lacking of energy, like all these things, you are missing something. And the missing something is you don't understand how and when to apply the generic advice to your body and lifestyle. So the generic advice is not wrong. Nothing you're being given or applying is wrong. You've got all these puzzle pieces, but you're trying to put it together without a fucking picture. You don't have the box with the picture on it. So you're just kind of jamming everything in everywhere and trying to guess. And quite frankly, it gets a lot harder to build muscle past 40. That's just the reality. We're generally losing it. So it gets harder and harder. You don't have time to fuck around for another 6, 12 months, 2 years to go, oh, was I actually growing muscle? If you don't understand if you're growing muscle, then how do you know what you're doing is working? So if you're not getting the results that you want, there is something missing, but it's not another supplement, it's not another strategy. It is likely taking what you're doing and flipping it around to support your body to thrive. And then all of a sudden, when your body thrives, all of a sudden, and you've got the right plan to get to from your personal current state to your personal desire, because remember, everyone's desire is different. Even though I talk about being lean and sculpted, hot and sculpted, that is different for everyone. Some people would be happy at 25% body fat. Just had a client, Renee, she's been with me 12 months, can't wait to show her results. Fucking phenomenal. I'll be putting them up on stories next week. She did 12 months. She's just finished her last deficit. She's worked hard that people are whispering behind her, saying that she's been on Ozempic, and I can tell you she's had to dig deep for some mental hurdles to really get to where she's gotten. But she's at around 26-27% body fat. She's like, this is more than I ever dreamed of, and I'm so happy. I just want to be able to maintain that. So we're just putting the last few pieces in these last couple of weeks that she's with me to cement her practices of this is how I maintain myself moving forward, so she can then release herself from tracking and just live a normal life and maintain the body that she's got. But she's super, super happy at 26% body fat. Where I've got another client who's like, I'd really like to get below 20 if my body will allow me to. She's got the reality check of, I have to be able to support that, but that's where I want to go. So her goal was entirely different, okay? But you need to understand, where am I and what goal do I want to how we get there. So Renee's pathway was entirely different to Mel's because their desire for Hot and Sculpted is a very different look and feel for them. And that's what it is. It's what makes you happy. Where am I now? Where do I want to go? And with that, you fill the gap with your personalized roadmap and learn to read your body and how to make adjustments when it isn't working and how to tell it isn't working for you. Like if we take me, for example, I know a lot of people after 1 week where they saw that scale go up and then maintain, and then my weekly averages come out as the same as last week, they would go, holy fuck, this isn't working. I need to strip calories more. I need to add another cardio day, or I need to get more steps. I don't need to change anything because I had other data that told me what was going on. So I learned how to read that data on my body. And this is what I do in my mentorship. It is not a blanket group course. I do not have a team of assistant coaches that generically help you out. This is you and me in a mentorship of education, so you ultimately get freedom and don't need a coach forever. Because if you're just being told the same generic information, being handed meal plans, being handed the training plans, and you actually don't understand any of it, as soon as you leave, you won't be able to maintain those results. And that is the difference between the mentorship and every other group coaching that is out there. So if you're interested, message me the word mentorship, and I will have a chat with you about where you're at and what it could possibly look like for you, all right? And I do free strategy calls as well to help you understand what your gap is and what it would look like for you. Are you dieting? Are you building? What do you need? If I understand where you are and understand where you're going, I will tell you what you need in that gap. So that's a free 20-minute strategy call that I do with ladies. If you want that, we can organise it. It's not a problem. So I'm done now. Just got to turn my apples over once in a while. They'll be done in 10 minutes. Enjoy your Sunday, people. I am literally switching off for the rest of the weekend. Ciao.